Have you ever found yourself thinking, why is this so hard for my child? You've explained it. You've reminded them. You know they're capable. And yet the homework doesn't get done. The task doesn't even get started. The follow through, it just isn't there. And it can start to feel like, well, are they just not trying? But what if that's not it at all? What if your child isn't being lazy, but is actually struggling with something you can't see? Something called executive function. Stay tuned to hear more. This just might be a missing piece of your puzzle. Are you overwhelmed by constant meltdowns, defiance, or challenging behaviors? Are you longing for peace in your home? You're in the right spot. I'm Jamie, mom of 7, counselor, parent coach, and wrangler of big emotions. I've learned how to calm the chaos and build connection, even when things feel like they're falling apart. If you're looking to connect with your child, find effective parenting tools that honor your family values, and understand your child's unique wiring, you found it here. So pour that coffee, find a quiet spot if you have one of those in your house, and let's get started. Today's episode is part of our Summit Spotlight series, so if you haven't caught the first 2, you're going to want to go back and catch them. We're sharing expert insights from speakers who presented at last year's Calm Connection Parenting Summit. But before we get into today's fun interview, I want to share something with you that I have been so excited about. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been teasing and talking about things like sensory processing, executive functioning, what's really going on underneath meltdowns and challenging behaviors, and an upcoming event. Well, if you've been listening and thinking, yes, this is exactly what we're dealing with, I want you to know you're not alone, and there is more support coming your way. I'm excited to officially announce that we will be hosting a free online event. Yes, another, maybe you guessed it, Calm Connection Parenting Summit. This year's summit is called Calm in the Chaos: Real Tools for Raising an Emotionally Intense or Neurodivergent Child. This event is designed for parents just like you, parents who are navigating meltdowns, ADHD, DMDD, SPD, PDA, sensory challenges, or just those everyday struggles that don't always fit traditional parenting advice. Inside this summit event, you'll hear from many experts, parents, and professionals who truly understand what it's like to raise a uniquely wired child. They will share real, practical tools you can begin using right away to create more calm, more cooperation, and more connection in your home. This isn't about perfect parenting. It's about understanding your child, feeling more confident in how you respond to them, and finally having strategies that actually make sense for your child and your family. If you want to be the first to hear all the details, get early access, and be part of the conversations leading up to this event, be sure to head over and join us inside the Calm Connection Parenting Facebook group. And make sure you get on the insider list so you don't miss a thing. The link is in the show notes and at calmconnectionparenting.org. Last year, we had over 1,000 people attend the online summit, and I think this year can be even bigger and better. So mark your calendars, April 20th through the 24th, and I can't wait to share more with you. It's going to be so good. And the best part, you can attend from home, on your couch, even in your jammies. Moving on, today we're hearing from Leslie Josel, ADHD student and parenting coach and founder of Order Out of Chaos. She was one of our speakers from last year's summit. She brings clarity to something so many parents are struggling with. I'm getting all stuck on my words today. She talks about why kids have a hard time getting started, staying on track, managing their time, and following through. And she talks about what we can begin to do differently to support them. So I know you're going to want to hear this. Let's jump in to this conversation with Leslie. And I am so thrilled to have a special guest with us here today, Leslie Josel. She is an award-winning ADHD student and parenting coach. She is the founder of Order Out of Chaos. She's an award-winning author of 3 books and an internationally acclaimed speaker. She's a dynamic expert on one of my favorite topics, executive functioning, and she's here to share with us real-world strategies to help kids thrive, especially those who are struggling with focus, organization, and motivation. So thanks for being with us today, Leslie. We have so many good things to cover. Let's jump in.
Much to cover. I mean, I could do right, but I am so happy to be here always. Thank you, Jamie, for having me. This is going to be fun.
You bet. I'm excited. You know, as I've mentioned to you before, I'm a mom of 7, but I had never really even heard of executive functions until we had a child that they weren't functioning quite as they were supposed to be. And when you run into that, it kind of puts things at a screech and halt. So there may be a lot of parents listening today that maybe you haven't heard of it, maybe you've heard it in passing, but you don't even know what it is. So why don't we start there? What are executive functions and why are they so important to understand?
So I'm going to do what I do in our company's webinars, like what I would do in an hour in about 2 minutes. So everyone,
Okay.
I'm a New Yorker, I talk fast. Hold on, here we go. So I know exactly what you mean. We've been hearing executive functions, and sometimes we even think executive function and ADHD, and we use them interchangeably, thinking they're the same thing. They're actually not. So let's talk about executive functions. And remember, I spend all day talking to students, so this is how I explain it to them, because I use very user-friendly language.
That's great.
Your executive functions are literally what helps you do what you need to do and what you want to do. And I really stress the want, because parents tend to, and again, I'm not disparaging parents, you're here today, you're an amazing parent right off the bat, but we tend to fixate on the want. On the need. My kid can't do this. He should be doing homework. When you have very weak executive functions, it's not only what you want and what you need to do, it's also what you want. So here's what it is. Frontal lobe of the brain controls our executive functions. Your executive functions are, here I go, you're organizing, not just your space and stuff, but also time. If you do not know where you sit in time, that's a disorganization. Yeah. Your time management, that whole, I didn't know, how long is that going to take me? What do you mean I have a paper due tomorrow and it's 10 o'clock on Sunday night? No future awareness. That's that piece. That's all time. Focus. I don't think I need to explain focus. We understand that losing focus, that being highly distracted. My attention is very limited. Effort. Effort is my favorite, because unfortunately that's where the perception of lazy comes in.
You know, I've never heard that one associated. That is really important.
It's really important, which is why I'm slowing down. Parents or teachers will go, you know, he's not really trying hard enough. He's lazy. For our purposes, we're just going to use the word he. I understand there's he, she's, and theys, but for us, we're going to say he. Just easier and faster.
Very good.
So the perception of lazy, he's lazy. So I always say to my students, I want you to go back to whomever said that to you and say, you're not lazy. You just have a hard time sustaining effort. Because if we have a hard time.
That's a good distinction.
It's a hard, I can't initiate. I can't stay the course. Mm-hmm. I'm overwhelmed. All of that is effort related. Right. Okay, that's 3. Organizing and time is 1. I do it in pillars. Focus is 2. Effort is 3. 4th one is mood regulation. And that's the biggest aha moment for parents. When I tell them your child's mood or your mood is actually an executive function. Frustration, anxiety, explosive, quiet. How their mood is being regulated by what is going on in their environment around them. So you might be going, I don't understand. My student was absolutely fine. And within 2 seconds, he blew. That's mood regulation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a left brain, right brain thing. We can talk about that after. So mood regulation,
Okay.
that's 4. Our 5th one is what we call working memory. Here's what it's not. Working memory is not short-term memory. It's not what you ate for breakfast yesterday. And it's not long-term, like, oh, we all went to Disney to celebrate grandma's birthday. Working memory, I'd like you all to look at it as a 2-lane highway. Information coming at you that needs to super glue, Velcro, whatever it is. I always say to my students, I want you to think of Velcro, all this Velcro in your brain. So information coming in that's got to stick, and that at some point, that information needs to come back out and be used. So, perfect example, my student is sitting in math class at 8 in the morning. How many of you have one of those? And in that moment, and in that time, your student is, I get it. I get it. I get it. I actually understand it. I get it. I get it. I get it. Now let's go fast forward to 7 o'clock at night. And they pull out their homework from that math class. And
they don't get it.
I don't get this. I never learned this. Or what the you know what is this? Because what happened is the information didn't super glue. It didn't stick. Okay? 2-lane highway. Information in the back, usage in the front. Working memory is actually the hardest thing to teach and the hardest thing to learn.
Wow.
Number 6, our last one, is impulsivity. And I hate that word. It is condescending. I don't like it. There's no growth. There's no forward thinking. There's nothing about the word impulsivity. No one has ever said you're impulsive and felt good about it.
Right. That's a very good point.
And for me, with students who have major EF challenges, we do not need to be punitive. So I use the term self-leadership.
Oh.
Do I know where I sit? Am I still paying attention? I'm reading. Have I learned what I'm reading? It's checking in with yourself to make sure you are doing for yourself.
Oh, I love that. I have never heard it put that way, and that is fabulous.
So with all of that, here's how I explain to kids. I don't like the word function either. I think it's clinical. What I say is executive control. Because when we use the word control, particularly with students, what we are doing is transferring ownership to them. We are saying, you're in control. The choices are yours, right? It's growth mindset.
It empowers, doesn't it?
Empowers. There's agency in that. So what we say to them too is what you're missing, or what is everyone who's looking at executive functions is looking at it from the outside in. Mm-hmm. What is going on the outside to make you feel dysregulated or dysfunction? But what we don't see as parents is that for executive functions also to truly work, internal distractibility is one of the biggest culprits of executive dysfunction. So I'm talking to you right now. Right? I'm in my home office and I am locked and loaded. Yeah. You have no idea, friends, what else is going on in my house. There could be an argument, right, happening. My mother-in-law could be, God forbid, sick, right? The minute this is over, I'm leaving. I have to quiet all of that noise to show up to do what I need to do and what I want to do. So ideas, memories, sensation, impulses, all of that has to be quieted. That is really hard to do when you have executive dysfunction.
Yeah. That's such a good point.
Purposeful actions.
Yeah. Tell me this. I know you talked about the 6 different executive functions.
That's how I do it. I do it in pillars. There are people out there that have 42, like I didn't mention procrastination or planning or any of those. I like pillars, 6 pillars, because I feel they're very manageable.
That is, and it helps to kind of have that picture for it. But tell me this, which of those executive functions, or in this case, dysfunctions, do you think tends to create the most stress or challenge in a family? Is there one that causes more?
Mood regulation. So here's a really important thing we all need to know. And if any of you know me, you know that at Order Out of Chaos, we do monthly webinars for our community, and on a myriad of topics, executive function, ADHD, time, study skills, whatever it is. I start every single webinar talking about executive age. So here's what executive age is. You might have a 13-year-old at home, and that 13-year-old is 13 in all their 13ness. Okay. I think you all know what I'm talking about.
And it's packed full.
Yeah. So they're 13 athletically, musically, academically, that's important, socially, verbally. But if they have any of the dysfunctions that I just laid out for you, they will be 30% less their chronological age.
Oh, say that again. That is really important.
That's really important. So let's say you have that 13-year-old and they're 13 in all those other areas. But if they are time blind, if they have weak working memory, if their mood regulation is really a challenge, they will be 30% ish. Nothing is, you know that. Everybody knows, I don't need to say it, nothing is finite.
Right.
But they will be about 30% less their chronological age for that dysfunction. Wow. So if I have a student at home who is brilliant and a genius in music and social and all that, but they are time blind, they are not 13, they are 9.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that struggle. There's that parent confusion and anxiety and anger even. I call it like I see it. I've been at this for 21 years. A lot has not changed. So remember that you have to meet your child where they are and how you're going to scaffold a 9-year-old and what you're going to expect from that 9-year-old is very different than 13.
Yeah. Oh, that's so important to keep in mind as a parent.
It is so important so that when you ask that question, for me, everything else, learning about time or being able to focus or learning, to strengthen my working memory, we like to say remembering to remember. Remember, we're talking to students, so we're not using these like, we need to work on your working memory.
Right.
How does that mean? No, we need to help you learn how to remember. They love that because it's catchy and it's not punitive, but mood regulation is what really I feel in all of my years is the most important executive function, because understand this, if your child is stuck, if your child's explosive, if your child is anxious, if your child is all of those mood regulation, none of those other executive functions are going to happen.
Right.
So if you have a child who's time blind, they still might have working memory. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They might be time blind, but they could still focus. We've seen it. But if you are stuck in mood regulation world, nothing else is going to happen. Wow. Your child has shut down, put a fork in them, they're done.
Yeah. And that's so important because I know, so many parents in our listening audience have kiddos who may be diagnosed with things like DMDD or ADHD, and those tend to have a higher, maybe challenges regulating moods. And so that number is probably a high correlation.
It's a very high correlation because again, so here's what you have to know. We can talk about ADHD for a minute. ADHD is not a hyperactivity disorder. It's not an impulsive disorder, and it's not a focusing disorder. We know our kids can focus, maybe not at the right time, with the right
or the right thing,
with the right cadence, right? All of that, the right energy. ADHD is actually a dysregulation disorder.
That's right. She's going to tell us more about ADHD and executive functioning. But before we go any further, I want to take just a quick moment to share something with you that can help as you're navigating these everyday challenges. Maybe you're listening and you're thinking, this sounds a lot like my child, but I don't know what to do about it. That's why I want to share this. You know you need to learn effective ways to handle your child's big emotions and challenging behaviors. But it feels like it's going to take so much time, money, and energy that you just don't have. Thankfully, that's not the case. The Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program will show you how to understand your child's wiring, calm the intense emotions, and manage those challenging behaviors with simple tools that actually work. Think of it as your shortcut. No more endless hours of research, expensive appointments, or sleepless nights worrying if things will ever get better. This is just what you've been waiting for, and quite possibly the answer to your prayers. Let's arm you with the best tools to help you parent your child to be all they were created to be. Join me at calmconnectionparent.com, and let's get you back to the peaceful, loving, joy-filled family life you imagined. It's easier than you think, and you don't have to do it alone. All right, let's get back to our conversation with Leslie.
Disorder. That is what it is. It is weak executive functioning skills.
Right.
So when we talk about ADHD, here's what we say. If you have ADHD, if you've been diagnosed with ADHD, you automatically have executive dysfunction. They are BFFs. They go hand in hand. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. However, everybody listen up, because this is the interesting part. The reverse is not true.
Not true. Yeah.
Your student, and we call them students at Automatic KH, we don't call them kids, we just student is our word. So if you have a student who's been diagnosed with executive dysfunction, that does not mean they have ADHD.
Right. And that's an important distinction.
It's a massively important distinction, because ADHD is a self-regulation disorder. Yeah. ADHD is weak or lagging executive functioning skills. So to your point, if my kid is severely lacking that mood regulation piece, I mean, among all the other ones, is going to be severe. Now, here's the other thing everyone needs to know. Your executive functions do not fully develop until you're in your mid-30s.
Really?
Yes. Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes. It used to be the 20s, and then researchers came back out and said, now, I know a lot of you are still stuck on that 30%. Like, what the heck is that? So am I going to have like a 10-year-old, like when I have a 15? I don't, math is not my thing, so I don't know. So is there a way to like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not widen the gap. What's the other word?
Bridge the gap or slim that gap. Yeah.
Slim that gap. Yes, of course it is. And what we tell you is that, first of all, we're talking about the brain. And the brain is a muscle. All of what we're talking about is brain-based behavior. So all of those like shoulds, like, or shouldn't my kid be able to get up in the morning? He's 13. Or shouldn't my 15-year-old be able to get out the door in the morning? The operative word there is should. And the answer is no, because this is all brain-based. It's not chronological age, it's executive age.
Well, let's say for a minute that you do have that 13-year-old that isn't getting up out of bed in the morning, and you know that it relates to executive functions. What do you do about it?
So again, you got to meet your student where they live. What is the issue? What is the concern? What is the buy-in? Now, here's my feeling, and you might not all agree with me, but how you're going to handle like an 8-year-old versus a 15 is very different. If I have a 15-year-old at home, I'm going to sit down with them and try to collaborate on, okay, now here's the thing I want you all to know. I do not believe that ADHD is an excuse. I believe it's an explanation or executive functioning. So if you have an expectation that your child should get up on their own in the morning, but the expectation needs to be met with scaffolding and support. So telling them you want them to do that is not teaching, and them hearing you, listening is not learning. Right. So what are you going to do to actually put systems and structure in place that is going to help your child get to what the goal you need?
So when you say scaffolding, it's like the supports that you put in place to help them?
The contract with your 15-year-old is, I'm going to knock on your door once. I don't find that enabling. I really don't. But I'm going to do it once. I'm going to knock on your, this is what we're going to practice. Yeah. I'm going to knock on your door once until I hear you. Hear you say, okay, I'm awake. Then I'm out. I'm going to put 4 alarm clocks, not 1, not 2, not 3. I'm just riffing right now. Like, again, I don't know your kid and I don't know what, but I might put 4 alarm clocks around your room. I'm literally 1 on the floor. So you physically have to get out of bed. I'm going to make sure that everything is done the night before to eliminate how many steps in the morning you need to do. This is true. I had a student that was 16 and had a very hard time going through the morning routine. But what we found was the student liked to put on his earphones first thing in the morning and listen to music. So what we did is we timed everything. We made him a morning playlist. So
Interesting.
once again, we worked at what was right for him. We tapped into what would work, right? We met him where he was. So we're like, all right, I have a great idea. How long? 5 minutes in your bedroom. Let's do a song that's about 5 minutes. 5 minutes in the bathroom. 5 minutes, blah blah blah. So what he did is every morning he put on the earphones and he would equate time.
With the music. Oh, that's fascinating. What a wonderful way to support his needs through a
Exactly.
routine that could have really tripped up and caused stress.
Exactly. We've had younger students. So what we do is we make things game-like. So we hang analog clocks. There you go. I walk the walk. We hang analog clocks. You guys don't know this. I'm a time management expert. That is actually what my jam is. So we hang analogs in every room your child is spending time in. So the bathroom, especially their bedroom, maybe a den where they do homework, definitely the kitchen. And we do something called billboarding, whereas we make a, not huge, but a poster of the time that mirrors the clock of what time your student needs to be out of that room. So they're almost playing like a beat the clock.
Beat the clock. Yeah.
So I'm in the bathroom and I'm watching time go and it has to match what's the poster. My younger students love that because it's game like. And if you have a child who has weak executive functioning or ADHD, they need that dopamine. They need that funness. Again, I'm trying very user-friendly terms. I don't know if people know what dopamine is, but dopamine is that hit.
That feel-good natural drug our body. Yeah.
Natural drug. And for kids who have lagging executive functioning, dopamine, fun around the mundane is what gets them going. Yeah. So these are just, I'm just riffing right now.
Yeah, no, those are great ideas.
So
those are great ideas. Okay, this is one that I hear often from parents. My child keeps lying and I need to know what to do. What can I do about it?
Okay, so here's where I want to be very clear. Like I said, I am a certified ADHD student and parenting coach. I am not a doctor. And I am very clear on where I begin and end. So we're not going to discuss lying like my kid, leaves the house at 2:00 in the morning, steals the car and goes off to do God knows what. That is like a whole other level of please go find a medical professional
that can help you work through that.
Work you through that. No, I've had if your kid is lighting fires in the house, you need a medical professional.
Right.
What we're talking about are the fibs and lies that are not utterly destructive. You know what I'm saying, right? I just want to make that clear that that's where we're going to stay. Yeah. So your kid lies for a lot of reasons. So let's go through some of them. If your student is assigned, let's say, a 10-page paper, and they have to do research and topics and all of this stuff, and their brain is not capable of working through that, because to me, that is an executive functioning nightmare for someone who has weak executive functioning, because you need to
for many reasons,
prioritize and organize and time manage and working memory. I mean, that is executive functioning on steroids. So your student is sitting there going, this is so overwhelming for me. I don't even know where to start. Or I can lie about it and we get a consequence. Even if I do, it's not going to be a big deal. So they'll take my phone for a day, maybe not even, because my parents forget. And my parents never, I'm speaking all our languages, and they don't ever really follow through on the consequences because they forget. Which one am I picking? I'm picking not doing it, because most of this is what your kids tell me. 21 years, thousands of students. I've heard it all. It's easier. Lying is easier. And even anticipating whatever consequence might be thrown in, than it is to actually do what it is they're being asked to do.
Yeah.
I want you to remember that a lot of the reason they're lying is because what they're being asked to do is too much, too big, too vague, too hard, too overwhelming. We call it the TOO student. Too big, too hard, too much, too overwhelming, too heavy. The other reason why your child lies, and this is where I am going to call some of you out, and I hope you are a little uncomfortable, because when we're uncomfortable, we learn.
Yeah.
How are you reacting to the truth?
So that's a really good question.
A really good one.
Yeah.
And it's one, I do a lot of parent coaching. We do a lot of group parent coaching at Order Out of Chaos. And this is a lot of what we're chatting about. where we go, okay, let's talk about lying. Well, let me ask you, how are you reacting to the truth? And you see everyone go, not so well. I don't like when my kid tells me that he didn't do something or he's not. And I'm like, well, if you're not reacting well to the truth,
Yeah.
how are you
Can you
expecting your child
can
to?
you understand what they're dreading?
Why are they lying?
Yeah.
That's why they're lying. The other reason why we see a lot of lying, and this is so interesting, and this is the ADHD executive dysfunction brain. There's many things the ADHD executive functioning brain needs. It needs structure, it needs organization, it needs to know what comes next.
Mm-hmm.
Most importantly, and I need you all to hear me, it does not like being caught off guard. I want to
The
say
unexpected, yeah.
that does not like being caught off guard.
Yeah.
The brain cannot catch up. So your child maybe like is in the middle of something and didn't quite do something, and you go like, "Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it?" And they can't catch up to where you are, and the brain is just gonna do four different things.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna fight. It's gonna flight. I know you've heard those. It's going to freeze, but there's a fourth one. It's gonna fib. If the brain is like, oh my God, I'm so caught off guard. Yeah, I did it. Because you know what? That's where the brain is at that time.
Yeah.
So what
It's like an escape.
exactly, fight, flight, freeze, or fib. So what I like to tell parents is two things. Number one, are you, and I know this is challenging, I see this a lot, especially with parents who have access now to, portals and all of that. So you're on your child's portal and you see that they didn't do a homework. And what you do, I'm sorry, you might not like me after this, or you're going to be like, oh, she's making me really uncomfortable because she lives in my house. Of course, I live in your house.
She's been watching.
I'm in your house. I'm in everybody's house. Instead of saying, did you do? Do you know the answer? If you know that answer, why are you catching your child in a lie? I don't want you to catch your child in a lie. I want you to say, I know that.
That's so good.
I know that you did not complete your last two homeworks. We're not going to discuss this right now because I know your brain needs time to catch up. We're going to sit down after dinner at 7, and hopefully by then you'll be able to tell me what's going on. Do you notice what I did there? I didn't catch my kid in a lie, but more importantly, I gave them space to let their brain get to where it needs to go.
Because I like that.
I know so many of you are going, why?
Tell me.
You're not going to get, stop asking the why question. You're not going to get the why answer. Yeah. Because for me, listen, I hate lying. It's like the thing in my house, but I always say to parents, this is my tagline, stop focusing on the reason and focus on the repair.
That's wonderful. I love what Leslie has to share about executive functions, about ADHD, just so many of these practical tools that she shares. And if you're interested in hearing the full interview with Leslie Josel, you can still get that. In fact, as part of this upcoming summit, you can also decide to purchase last summit's videos. And I'm telling you guys, it was great. We had some wonderful authors, podcasters, coaches, some amazing people sharing with us there. So if you are interested in hearing the rest of her interview, that's still available to you. But this was a wonderful chat with Leslie. She's so knowledgeable in this area, and I just loved sharing this time with her. Perhaps this is an area you hadn't really thought about with your child. Maybe you hadn't really learned a lot about executive functions or how they may be impacting your child in his life or their struggles in general. Well, I encourage you to keep seeking, keep learning, and keep working to understand your child's unique wiring. As I mentioned, we have the upcoming Calm Connection Parenting Summit, and this will be the perfect opportunity to expand your learning and discover a few new things. So mark your calendar, April 20th through the 24th. We're going to be putting out more information and letting you know where you can register for this event. But you'll want to hop on over to the Calm Connection Parenting Facebook group and make sure that you're in there to get all of the details. And you can also check calmconnectionparenting.org, where you can get more information on becoming an insider so you can get emails that give those details as well. Well, that leads me to one of my favorite quotes, one I'd like to close with today. The loudest way to love your child is to help him feel seen, heard, and understood. I hope today's episode gave you a breath of fresh air, maybe a bit of hope too. If this encouraged you, would you please take a moment to follow and leave a quick review? It helps this much needed message of calm and connection reach more families. And if you're looking for additional resources, be sure to visit calmconnectionparenting.org and check out the podcast tab. There you'll find a variety of free resources waiting just for you. Until next week's episode, take a deep breath, grab that fresh cup of coffee, and remember, you've got this. And on the days you don't, well, we're in it together.